Welcome y'all to Parton's Heritage Homestead. We are a Mediterranean homestead for those who are new and viewing our channel. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and maybe even share it with your family and friends. For those who have been with me already, welcome home. Today we are going to be working in the kitchen, and actually we are going to Italy, and it's going to be an interesting day. I've got something that we're going to work on that's going to benefit so many people in different ways. So grab a chair, get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, whatever your favorite is, and sit a spell while we visit. Alright y'all, so here is the thing that happened yesterday. As you know, we went to the dentist. Now honestly, we went just for fittings, but the day changed. I did get some devastating news. I will share it with you just in case anybody else has gone through this. And for those who I referred some information to, I am going to retract right here, right now from that information, and I'm going to tell you why. The thing that changed, and we'll start with the good news first, y'all, is after my fitting, actually it was the dentist who made my teeth. This one stayed with me all day. He worked with me all day. He found that I actually really needed him, and he's not lying, I did. So what ended up happening is after an entire day from 8 a.m. to nearly 5 o'clock yesterday evening, we came home after this fitting, and y'all, I came home with my permanent teeth. See if you can. I got my permanents. So, but here's what happened. In the midst of learning things, and you know, even on YouTube, there is a lot of information that is so beneficial out here in YouTube. However, there is that few and far between that is not so beneficial, and unfortunately for me, I found it. So I had learned that when there is pain in your mouth, to comfort that pain, to which I did. I went and got some dental putty, and I've used cushion grip. Now, there is nothing wrong with cushion grip, and I will talk to you about this. The only reason I'm taking time out at this moment to talk about dentures, y'all, is because a lot of our community family members are denture wearers at this moment. So, and they have learned a lot from me and asked me several questions. So I'm addressing that, and we will get to our day, I promise y'all. But what I had learned was, number one, using that dental putty to cushion that pain was the worst thing I could ever do. Because by now I should have had formation to my gums, to my denture, and I did not. And this was really odd, but the dentist actually had me bite his fingers when he put my top and my bottom in with my permanent teeth, y'all. So now these are a bit sharper. They're a bit bigger teeth-wise than on my temporaries. But he did it for a reason. He had a feeling, and so he went with his gut, and he had me bite down. And he looked at me and he said, "Bless your heart." And I thought, uh-oh. He said, is this all you have? And I said, yes, sir. And it hurt, y'all. It hurt when I bit down. And he told me, sadly, that my bite was less than his grandchild's. And I was devastated. What I ended up doing was I was losing muscle and I was losing bone structure. Basically, it was going the wrong way. So now I have to reprogram my mouth. I have to live through that pain because, as he says, no pain, no gain. So I'm having to recondition the gums. He did allow me, thank you, Lord, he did allow me my permanent teeth, but with the exception that I took away all that dental putty, no longer use it. Now, cushion grip. The only reason to use cushion grip would be to make a thin layer on the inside as a liner purpose only. It is not meant to cushion. You should never cushion between your gums and your teeth ever, from what I understood. Also, I have to retrain my tongue. Remember, I was telling you all that I was talking like a 2-year-old with speech impairment? The reason for that, and the reason it's still stated this long, is because my tongue was a free-for-all, doing whatever it wanted to do. And look, I had comfort in my mouth and I had my tongue doing whatever it wanted. And because of this, I have to pretty much start over. It has been 3 months since my extractions, and this was not good news. The good news about this, though, is there is still a chance for me to reverse all the damage that I did by my own choice. So I will tell you, for those who I gave you this advice to, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. You can do what you want to, but I'm going to highly advise you, if you can withstand the pain, please do so. You're better off. Now, I am not saying that these are without pain. And honestly, if I would have done what I was supposed to do in the beginning with my temporaries, these would have had no pain whatsoever. Because I just went from a Buick to a Cadillac, y'all. These fit so well. And I just wish I would have done what I was supposed to do. So, we're going to get off that subject. So, we are retraining everything. Plus, I'm learning how to eat the right way from the back of my mouth instead of what I was used to in the front. So, what are we up to today? We are going to work on an Italian type of bread, but it is not with any wheat. Y'all, we are working with what's called chickpea flour. We are making what is called a farinata. Now, farinata is like a, how do I explain this? I guess it would be the cornbread to Italy type of thing. It is a thin, basically pancake that can be made in various different ways, and I'm going to show you a way that we're going to try. Now, I've never done this. From what I understand, if you are diabetic, actually chickpeas are acceptable because they break down over time due to the fiber. You can also, instead of making a cauliflower pizza crust, you can use farinata as a pizza crust as well. So I am going to teach you how to do that. We are going to fresh mill our chickpeas. So, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Also, here is, if you do not have a mill, all is not lost. There are 2 other ways that you can actually mill it and turn it into flour, but be careful because you would have to do a little at a time. One would be to use your blender, another would be to use a coffee grinder, or third option, you can order chickpea flour online. So these are several options. So if you want to try a gluten-free, high protein based bread source, this is going to be it. Now, I have never tried this, but there are a lot of high recommendations. So this is what we're going to do. I am actually going to spread ours with a soft cream cheese, top it with some sauteed cherry tomatoes, and then sprinkle it with some pesto on top. Y'all, this sounds so good. And I am going to be making some pasta at kamut, and using our farm fresh tomatoes, I'm going to make homemade sauce to make spaghetti and farinata for supper tonight. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, y'all, so I am going to be using organic garbanzo beans, or otherwise known as chickpeas. And I'm going to scale out. This is just basically the basic source is chickpeas, water, and salt, and olive oil. That is the only thing in this ingredient. I am actually going to be using my Nutri-Mill Harvest for this, because this one will handle these type of beans to turn into flour as well. So I'm going to measure out 200 grams. This should give me 200 grams of chickpea flour. So if you are not milling your own, you want to weigh out 200 grams of chickpea flour. Just a few too many here. Almost. And that's it. Exactly 200. And now I am going to mill all of this into a flour. Okay, y'all, so I'm going to try something else too. Usually, I've gotten to a point now where I will sift my flour even with my wheat. But I'm also noticing like this here. So I sifted out the chickpeas, and there is remnants flakes, which in the wheat berries, that would be the fiber. So I'm going to try something. Instead of running this through my mills again, I'm going to see if I can do this in my coffee herb grinder. We'll see what this turns out like. Okay, so did this work? Well, it's not the consistency of the flour that is coming out of the mill, but yes, this actually worked. It is a lot. There's still a very small amount of grit in here, but it's enough that I can add this to my chickpea flour, and this will work, y'all. This will save me from having to wear down my mills for something remilling these things. So, and I'm going to try this with my bread sources too, to see if I can get a lot smoother flour. So this is an option if you were milling. Okay, y'all, so I am actually going to do this recipe in a different form. We're going to see how this works out. I'm using 1 cup of chickpea flour. I'm using 1.5 cups of hot water, 1/2 tablespoon of kosher salt, and I need 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You're going to add your salt to your chickpeas, then your olive oil. First, we're going to blend up our salt and our flour, our chickpea flour together. Now I'm going to add in my olive oil, and then we are going to add in the water a little at a time. We do not want this to clump, so you want to do this a little at a time to make a smooth batter. So I'm just going to mix this a little bit each time. Make sure it's smooth, and we will not, this will thicken up too. So it will also turn around and get really foamy. We want it to do that, and I will explain all this in the end. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep mixing all my mix up. It's going to be kind of watery, y'all, and that's okay. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm adding this a little at a time until all of this is incorporated and I have a smooth, non-clumpy batter mix. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this now. Stir this up really well. Once I get this stirred up really well, we'll be right back, y'all. Okay, so now we have our mix already done. We are going to end up covering this, and we are going to put this in the fridge for at least 4 hours, or you can do this overnight, which they say preferably to do. Now, this will form bubbles, and we want that to happen. We want the gases to work inside of this because we're going to release those gases and actually take the foam from this mix and scrape it off. So the next step here, for the next 4 hours, this is going in the refrigerator. When this is finished, we will come back and I will show you how to finish your farinata after that. Alright, we're back in the kitchen at this point, and I am going to be making homemade basil pesto off the basil that we homegrown here. But I'm learning something that I want to try this. I'm going to blanch our basil to keep it nice and pretty green for our pesto, and I'm going to show you how to do this. At this current point, I am boiling some water. I want to get this to a boil. We will blanch 2 cups of fresh basil for about 10 seconds. After that, it's going into a bowl of ice cold water, and then we will be drying it off. So I'm currently waiting for this to come to a complete boil. We're almost there. Once we get this, I'm going to show you how to make homemade pesto with fresh basil. And I toasted some pine nuts to go with this. If you do not have pine nuts, you can use walnuts. That is 1/3 cup of pine nuts, and I will go through the recipe with you. I am actually going to change up our supper. We are not having pasta tonight. Instead, I think what I'm going to do is make a pesto tomato frittata or farinata with tomato bisque and Italian meatballs. Sausage or Italian sausage meatballs, because hubby likes meat in his meals. He's not always fond of just a meatless, so I will add a little bit of meat to our tomato bisque using Italian sausage and turning them into little meatballs. It's a good comparison or pair with the tomato. Now, the bisque will be made from our fresh homegrown tomatoes on the homestead. So I'm looking forward to this. I've never done that before. So y'all, I'm into a whole new thing anyway, so I might as well share it with you. Now, this is good enough. I'm going to go ahead and add our basil. I have 2 cups of this. Hopefully they will fit in this little pot of mine. We just want to do this basically until they are wilted, and this will not take long. So I'm going to drop this into our boiling water, and usually that takes about 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Alright, y'all, so this is done. We're going to turn this off, add these to our ice cold water. Oh yeah, that's good. Dump this in our ice cold water, chill this off right quick, because we do not want to cook this. Oh, if you can smell that basil scent. Ooh, so good, so good. I actually have some basil water right now. Alright, y'all, so we're going to let this cool off, and then we're going to drain it, and we are going to dry these and wring out all the water in the basil. So we'll be back. Alright, so here's what we got. Now, this is the basil after, and it doesn't look like much now, but trust me, we got 2 cups in here now. It has been blanched, it has been squeezed dry, and now it gets added to our food processor that we're going to mix this with. That is 2 cups of dried and blanched basil. You can use 1 or 2 cloves of garlic. I used 1 cut up. I have 1/3 cup toasted pine nuts or walnuts if you don't have pine nuts. And we have 1/2 cup of olive oil that we're going to add in here. You know me, I don't like to waste anything. I'm going to show y'all how I'm going to store this afterwards as well. And I have juice from a half of a lemon. This helps preserve our basil or our pesto. I am using just a good pinch or so of kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper, and I'm going to mix this up really good. Once we get this mixed up, we'll transfer it to a bowl, because at that point we are also going to be adding a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. So let's get this mixed up. Well, y'all, I struggle with this every time. There we go. So we're going to get this one mixed up, and once we get this mixed up, we shall be right back. Okay, so our pesto is done. Now I am just adding my Parmesan. You can add it to the mix if you want to and mix it all up. Now I did some of it in there, but the rest of this I just added to my pesto. Now this is ready, and I will be using this tonight in our supper tonight. So now I'm not going to use all of this. The Farinata, it's just not going to require so much as this whole thing. So I'm going to show you how I'm actually going to preserve this. There are two methods. You can turn around and put this in a nice glass sealed jar, and this will hold a couple weeks in your refrigerator as long as it's nice and sealed. Or you can do it like me, where you can have individual sizes. And that would be using a silicone ice cube tray. So I am going to actually get my small spoon. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to fill in some of these cubes. I am going to freeze them in individual. Once they're frozen, I will stick them into a freezer bag, and y'all, that's it. I have done this before, and it works amazing. So it's perfect. And actually, I've got some in the freezer now, and I could have just used that for tonight's supper. But I wanted to show this to y'all in case you are growing basil and have no idea what can I do with this stuff. So this is an option for you. And like I said, I have, well, for supper tonight, it's a big portion of this, so there's no sense wasting it. So just make pesto cubes, freeze it, and we got this. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my cubes, and once I'm done, we'll be right back. Okay, so we have just enough for our farinata tonight, and 7 cubes to go in the freezer for preserving for another time. So I'm going to go stick these in the freezer, let them do their thing, and we'll be back for the rest of our meal. Okay, y'all, so it has been approximately 4 hours later, and I have my pan. I'm going to be using a 10-inch skillet, a cast iron skillet for this. So this is good and hot. We are in a preheated 450 degree oven. Now, I'm going to generously add olive oil. However, I'm also going to be careful because this is going to be snapping hot. Like so. Generously adding this, and I'm going to coat it all the way around my pan, basically. I don't want it to stick. Alright, now I'm going to take now my chickpea or farinata mix. Now this is where I have to watch it. And I'm going to add this to my pan. Go ahead and mix just a little bit of that olive oil in here. And now we're going to pop this in the oven for about 20 minutes and wait until it is finished. Add the rest of this right in here. Now I'm going to add this straight back to the oven, and we're going to let this bake. I am looking for it to be golden brown, y'all. So I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. And we will be right back. Alright, y'all, so I'm working on our tomato bisque in a special way. And instead of using canned fire roasted tomatoes, I'm actually doing this from an already preheated oven. If I'm already going to use it and it's on a hot day, I might as well take advantage of it. So I'm actually going to be making that marinara that I taught you. And in the end of this, we will puree this down into our tomato bisque. This is going to be amazing, y'all. So that's what I'm currently doing on top of cooking our farinata. And y'all, it's working great. It's looking amazing. So we will be right back. Okay, so currently I have 3 minutes left on our farinata. So currently I am sauteing our tomatoes that we're going to be using in this. I am fixing to get the cream cheese and soften it some. And then we already have our pesto waiting. So I am just going to soften. That is all. We're not making a sauce. We're just softening our tomatoes with some salt and pepper. Very simple recipe, and that would be it on this. This is a topping that's going to go on top of our farinata for supper tonight. Y'all, this is going to be amazing. I honestly cannot wait to try this. I've never tried it before, and I should know better than to make videos like this, but you know, you never know unless we get in here and do this, right? So we're going to do it, and I'll give you my review. Y'all, it's out of the oven. I had to show you how absolutely gorgeous. Now, my camera is not doing this lighting very well. This is a beautiful golden color. Perfect. It came out absolutely perfect. So now, our farinata, this is it. That's a basic. And right now, if I wanted to, I can eat it just like this. But I'm going to wait for our toppings, so we'll be back. Yeah. I had to try this just as it is, because usually farinata is served just as it is as well. Not with just the toppings. Now my toppings, I told you, I'm going to put cream cheese on this, some roasted tomatoes, and then we're going to put pesto. It's a form of using it like a pizza, but it's not a pizza. I cut a piece of this off, and I tried it. I have never tasted chickpeas like this before. Look, I'm going to teach you different ways of using chickpeas that we're not used to. We are already used to hummus, but there's so much more that we can use them for, and this is one of them. And y'all, I'm going to need to get a good stock for this winter of dried chickpeas. That means I'm going to be going through Azure Standard and ordering some organic chickpeas. This is ever-loving, amazing. It is really hard to describe the flavors from this, but wow, that is packed with flavor, and it's packed with a lot of protein as well. You can use this just as it is for supper. Serve it with hummus and some vegetables and some maybe olives. We're going to serve it with soup. Oh, I cannot wait. Y'all, this is amazingly good. I am definitely going to give you the recipe to this. Okay, y'all, so we are now at the point of getting ready to serve our supper. I have this reheated. I just let it cool slightly, and now I'm just going to take cream cheese, and I'm just going to spread this over the top of our farinata. Just spread this all over this topping. And yes, my cream cheese is also at room temperature at this point as well to help it spread like this. Now that we have that, we're going to spread it with our tomatoes that we sauteed earlier. So I'm just going to pop them, spread them out all over our farinata. And this was cooked in a 10-inch cast iron skillet. This recipe for farinata with these toppings came from Pasta Grammar. I will send you the link to making this for them, because this here, y'all, they deserve this. This is absolutely amazing. And as for me, as of right now, this is going to be my go-to. Oh my gosh, this is my absolute go-to. So there is our tomatoes. And now for the final, our pesto topping. And I'm just going to go through here and just sprinkle this on the tops. Oh, y'all. Oh. Bring some over here in this little bare spot. And y'all, that is it. Our farinata is finished. And that's it. So now we will serve our supper. And there we have it, y'all. Here is supper on the homestead. We have our farinata made with chickpea flour, and we have our tomato bisque with Italian sausage meatballs. This would be an amazing fall and winter. I know it's summer and we're eating this, but y'all, I am into testing recipes for our future. Much healthier Mediterranean way, and this is, oh my goodness. So I am hangry, and I am going to end this video now. Much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.